I don't want to do it with that flashlight.
Oh.
I mean, she beats that fucker to smithereens.
Yeah. Kick that fucker.
Welcome to the 2 Decades Too Late podcast. Oh, man. What's that guy's name? I forget his name. Saul? It's not Saul.
Sully.
Is it? Sully.
Played by Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Never saw it.
Me neither.
It seemed... I don't think I've ever been so bored by the trailer of a movie. Even Castaway, which technically nothing happens in,
Right.
seemed more exciting.
Much more boring premise.
Yeah. At least Denzel Washington was like a drunk pilot in his pilot movie.
Yeah. He was an actor playing a drunk.
Yeah, I guess. You know what? I legitimately can't say what I was about to say on this, and I will tell you after, because I don't want to edit this whole thing out.
That sounds great.
Because we already started.
Incredible restraint, Bradley.
Yeah. Yep. Which I am known not to have.
Right.
So, even more impressive. This is a podcast in which we rate and review an album that is turning 20 years old, mostly metal for whatever it's worth. My Celsius is hitting me like a ton of bricks. Josh and I each give a rating of 1 to 5 to 4 different parameters for an individual maximum point total of 20 and a combined maximum point total of 40.
Yeah.
Maths. Also, I went to Chipotle yesterday, like I told you, because I got 3 tacos instead of 1. Best thing ever. And there was a person in there eating with a Pikachu hat on.
That's
like,
great.
Not just like a hat, but like it had the ears and the whole. And I was just like, hell yeah, man. Yeah. Live your fucking life.
Live your fucking life.
Love it.
This week on the podcast, we're living our life with Zayo.
Yeah.
Funeral
Not
of
Zal.
God. Or
yeah.
If you're into initialisms and acronyms and shortening things, the Zayo album, Fog.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's the Funeral of God.
Fuck. To Fog.
To Fog. So that could be like a silent T situation. T would kind of run into F, I feel. Maybe. I don't know.
Tooth.
Is there a precedent for a silent T?
Yeah. It was a whole category on the connections.
Oh.
Yesterday?
All right.
Definitely this week. Maybe even today. Watch out for that.
If it was today, I haven't done it yet, so that's helpful. I hope it was today.
There you go.
Because I looked at the spelling bee and literally just turned my phone off and put it back on my... I was like, I couldn't think of a single word in like 30 seconds, so I didn't even bother.
That's a good call.
Yeah, Zayo, the Funeral of God was going to be called Live from the Funeral of God, but the record label thought it would make people think it was a live album, so...
That's the right call. Like, I would have not paid attention to this at all. If you have the word live in your album title, I'm not going to listen to it in most cases.
Yeah, same. And also, just let it be known ahead of time. I know I've talked, well, at least I assume and I think remember talking about how I hate Christian lyrics with a dramatic passion.
Oh, yeah.
But I know Zayo is Zayo, so I didn't even bother allowing it to impact my opinion on this. So I'm being inconsistent, and I'm letting everyone know up front, because there are times where I let lyrics impact my opinion on an album. Zayo is too near and dear to my heart, so I made the conscious choice to not let it happen here. And they're a lot more metaphoric with theirs anyway. They're not like super on the nose. I mean, you would think it would be because stuff called Live from the Funeral of God.
Right.
But they're telling a really cool story about legitimately if God was real, which it is not. But if it was, and it died, what that would have, like how that would impact the literal universe and the people that populate it. So
this is gonna You mentioned before we started recording, like you were interested to hear my take on this one. You thought Jimmy Eat World would be the more interesting, or like one of the most interesting. I think this is gonna be equally interesting to get both of our takes on, and especially like because just reading some of the backstory, like I guess the lyrical content of this album, like the lead singer Dan Wyant, actually kind of had to subvert or hush hush some of the meaning behind the lyrics because he didn't necessarily write them from a Christian standpoint. He was kind of exploring like the darkness of humanity, and he's like, he kind of had to. Yeah, and
that's super cool.
I think at least for a little while now, like the band doesn't even necessarily identify, like there's only one practicing Christian member now.
Yeah. And I think that's why the founding drummer left when he did, or at least that's what he says. That guy's the biggest douchebag.
Are we talking about Jesse?
Jesse, my God. Listen, this is never going to get back to him. Not impossible, but incredibly improbable. I just want him to know the band was better once he was gone. Fuck him. That dude is the worst. In the DVD, he is sitting there with a cigarette and a beer talking about how people aren't strong enough Christians for his taste. And I'm like,
that don't make no sense.
Oh God. I get it. Practice your religion. I don't get it. You're all stupid. But God, I hate that guy. Anyway.
Yeah, but Zayo, historically Christian band, or at least, from the time that they started, maybe even not up to this point. They formed in 1993, so coincidentally, same year as Jimmy Eat World.
That is what...
Yeah, you didn't put that together, huh?
No, which direction makes that so wild? I actually don't know. It's just
that Jimmy Eat World is that old, or like that the two are concurrent, or that Zayo's that I don't know. But
can you imagine
that it's the same?
In the same planet, two bands are forming, and one is Zayo and one is Jimmy Eat World. Wow, that's incredible. And don't get me wrong. Really, it was before, like. Oh, God, what you just said his name. Dan joined the band. I mean, he was Christian when he joined, but their previous record was... I mean, that dude ended up being a pastor. And he did, Symphony in Peril, I think is what he went on to do.
Yep.
That record is disgustingly Christian. I mean, it is just... I mean, they did the whole stop the show to say that God stuff. Like, ugh.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it, I guess do it. But no thanks.
But 2, 4, 6 previous albums to this.
Yep. They were... Because they kind of hit the ground running a little bit.
95,
right?
97, 98, 99, 01, 02. They put out a lot of shit, and reading their wiki is actually just fascinating. It's broken into eras of band members because they have like notoriously fraught history with band members. Like there were touring vocalists that never recorded on a single Zayo album.
Right. And this is the band that we always use as like the when we're saying, man, that group has more members than Zayo.
Yeah.
Like, and we've done that since whenever we watched the DVD 100 years ago at this point, which I have physically, and I watched it yesterday.
Nice.
It's not very good.
No.
It's actually pretty bad. It's almost unwatchable. The only thing that kept me engaged is my hate for Jesse.
Yeah.
I literally watched it more than I actually watched it because I fucking hate that guy so much. God, what a piece of shit. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, members just out the wazoo. You know what's funny though? They actually don't really have that many.
They don't.
Like,
they just came in and out a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of. Well, I don't remember when you brought it up what episode we were like, I never even made the connection that a member could just like kind of drop in and drop out.
It was the Haunted.
Drop in. Haunted, that's right. That's exactly right. And this band, that is all they did.
Yeah.
Like the Scott Mellinger and Russ Cogdill, they are in the band at like 10 different times. And it's so weird.
So on the wiki, at least, Scott is kind of listed from 99 to present. So like, a consistent.
I would have.
Yeah, reading the lineup for actually this album specifically. So it's Dan Wendt on 98 to present on lead vocals, Scott Mellinger guitar and clean vocals 99 to present, Sean Koshik bass, and Stephen Peck drums from 2004 to 2005. So they just did a little stint for this album. They were actually part of another band that just kind of filled in when Jesse left. And then, Russ Cogdill, guitar, 98 to 2000, 2002, 2004 to 2006, and then 2010 to present.
So he was the one I had in mind when I was thinking of that. Okay. Yeah, because and he's the guy that famously, to me, anyway, that would jump up and land on his knees.
Yep.
And I always thought, like,
video.
Stop doing that.
Or the Rising End video.
The Rising, yeah. I mean, but he did it live too. Like when we saw them in Cincinnati, and it was just like, it's super sick. But
those are your knees,
like,
man.
Man, that's no joke. Like, listen, you and I, when we're 50, are probably going to be able to barely walk because of skateboarding the way we did for so long. But
God willing,
just straight jumping up like 4 feet in the air and then landing on your knees.
Yeah, he did a 360 too.
Yeah, it looked amazing, but like...
You're doing that every night.
Yeah, it makes me want to die. Like, I don't even think anything we did to our bodies are going to result in whatever that's going to result in.
I mean, the day's not over, but I hear what you're saying.
True enough. I'm just going to walk outside and just jump on my fucking knees.
Yeah.
And then go right to the hospital. Ugh.
I don't even want to like scrape my knee, like fall down. No. I don't want to catch my body.
Did you ever have a board hit you in the knee?
Yeah.
Dude, it sucks so
just instant dead leg. I can't walk.
Oh, it seriously hurts me to think about. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
What?
Zayo has a history.
Yes, they do. And it's an interesting one. And I mean, it's kind of come up before, but this is a big one. Like, you know, Dillinger was a big one, and Misery Signals was a big one. This is...
I don't even think... So I kind of allude to this when we'll get into the review, but like this album as a whole wasn't a big one for me, but The Rising End, the song, was so huge. Like,
massive.
That was the album for me.
Yeah.
Like, we listened to a lot of Zayo, like a lot of 90s and early 2000s Zayo. And that's kind of where I lived, was in like Skin Like Winter and those songs.
Yeah, and same. I by and large am with you on that. This one, yeah, well, we'll get into it a little more later, I guess. But I agree with you wholeheartedly, is that it was the older stuff that, again, Charles got us into, and you know, you just... Sometimes you don't know what's going on, and you look back and you're like, man, this person that was in our lives kind of for like 2 years max.
What a bro.
Just life changer, man.
Yeah.
I'm what are we talking about?
I'm super interested to check out the album after this, though, because I didn't listen to it at all. Like, I was like, okay, Funeral of God was okay. And then the following album, I just kind of didn't Zayo anymore. But, like, after reading what I read and kind of looking at some of the production and listening to this album, I have a strong desire to listen to the album that followed it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's better.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually, I would put it in their top 3, probably, of all of their albums. It's very, very good.
And so I thought that I didn't like Dan Wint's vocals a whole lot. I thought they were, had always thought that they were super uninteresting, but like he's actually doing quite a bit.
He's doing quite a lot, and I actually marked that down. So many people ripped him off.
Yes,
it's crazy, but no one really sounds like him. You think they do, like you think the Haste the Day guy sounds like him, but if you listen to both back to back, they don't at all. Really, no. I mean they do, like, you know, big picture, but
yeah, because
this dude
he ripped him off.
Right, but like also, I will say, I have no idea how this dude's still doing this. Like, it sounds like he is just shredding. It sounds, I love it.
Yeah. But
it sounds like he's just like putting rocks through his fucking vocal cords. But I mean, it's great. It's great. I just don't know how he's still doing it all these years later, because they just recently released like a live set from like a church.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. It's really good. I think I knew one song. That's probably not true, but when they play live, there's stuff. The song choices kind of made everything sound similar.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's really good, and his vocals are just. I was like, man, you're still doing it. I don't know how, but you're still doing it. Good for him.
Yeah. So this is why I wanted to listen to the follow-up album, and why Steve Albini came up. They recorded with Steve Albini on the follow-up album to this.
They did, and it's a better production.
Okay.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Good. Man, I'm excited to talk about the production too, but
same. There's a lot to say.
A lot going on, but
the tracks on the album,
like
yeah.
Released on Ferret and Roadrunner, Roadrunner specifically for the Europe and Asia markets. It was their first release on Ferret. They switched from Solid State.
Yep.
So a lot of the band members are new for this album, like new. Hadn't been on Zayo album. I mean, they kind of floated in the same circles. So this feels very much like a specific and not replicated actually lineup. Like, this is a moment in time for Zayo. This album is. It's kind of a microcosm.
It's like its own thing. And nothing else they've ever done before or since sounds like it. I mean, it's its own...
Yeah.
This exists on its own plane. Like, it's just... Which is really cool. Like...
And their only concept album, I think?
I think so, yeah. Parade of Chaos? No. Nope. Didn't take me too long to talk myself out of that one. But yeah, so I think, first of all, let's just talk about very briefly, the track titles are incredible. Even if the song's not great, the title of the track is like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like everything about, like, Breath of the Black Muse. Yeah. I don't even know what that means, but like, I want it tattooed. It's so sick.
It is super sick.
At track 1, but how did you land on the claps?
I didn't hear claps like at all.
Okay. I'm just gonna chalk that up to the pick on the bass string making me hear like a clank or something. I don't know.
Zayo has been known to clap, and that's probably why we wanted to clap and why Zombies Ate My Neighbors clapped on their out. Like, there was clapping in 2004, early 2000s.
Dude,
for sure.
Like, it's funny to even say, but it can't be overstated.
It cannot.
Every single metalcore band was like, we got to put that
we have to clap. They're basically, from 2000 to 2006 was just an entire round of applause in the metal community.
Yeah, I mean, strangely enough, yeah, and just no bass. no bass, and claps.
We all had the clap. Okay.
Yep.
We can drop it now.
Yeah, fair. I was waiting. I was like, we're going to have to get to a clap joke at some point.
Yep.
So, yeah. Good.
Apotheosis achieved.
Yep. First song's really good.
Yeah, and back to your point about the song titles, they do a great job of laying out the concept out of the album as well. A lot of times you get a concept album and like the song titles don't track or like something falls short, but like these tell the story.
Yeah, you can just read the track listing and you'll more or less get what's going on.
Yeah.
Even without the lyrical content. Perfect. So, yeah, it's so good. Also, just calling an album The Funeral of God is just...
the baller move.
It's very, very thought-provoking.
Especially from what was perceived at the time to be a Christian band.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's really great. I'm sad that we've landed on no claps, but I'll survive. I do think that Zayo, to me, I don't love that the wiki said this is where they started sounding more like Killswitch Engage and Shadows Fall. Get the fuck out of here. It sounds nothing like either one of those bands.
It does not, at all.
At all. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot less chaos on this album than some previous releases.
The parade was over.
Yeah, right. Man, a Zayo pun.
Yeah.
That's good work. But yeah, it sounds like, listen, if you read the wiki and then you listen to this, you are not going to get that. Just a heads up if you haven't heard this album. It sounds nothing like those.
It sounds more like those other contemporaries than their previous and follow-up albums, but like somebody's really reaching to tie them to a moment in time.
Right. That's like we talked about a little bit last week about Jimmy Eat World. I still can't. Like being like almost like a shoegaze situation, but that's like saying that album sounds more like Neurosis than their previous album. Like it sounds nothing like Neurosis,
right.
But sure, I guess it does sound more like Neurosis than Bleed American. Yeah. And so does like I don't know.
But what I hope happened was it was somebody's sincere attempt to like get the name Killswitch Engage on Zayo's wiki so that you could accidentally run across Zayo.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very positive outlook on that. So
yeah, that's what I'm here for.
I'll take my problem with that away. But
the album starts off super sick.
Super strong, and doesn't stop at track 2, The Rising End. My God. I mean, that is like... that is in the pantheon of metalcore songs.
Yeah.
Period. Also, worth noting, I'm not going to metalcore rant. I think I've done that enough for a lifetime on this podcast at this point, but this is on the verge of not... It has to be that. Like, I don't know what else you would call it. But Zayo's pretty unique. They don't... I mean, like, they kind of do breakdowns at times, but they're, like, weird.
Yeah.
Nothing on it is necessarily, like, metal. Like, there's no, like, In Flames influence here like there is on, like, Killswitch or...
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not that Scandinavian sound, anyway.
No, so it's kind of interesting because, I mean, again, I have no idea what else you would call it. It's the only genre for it, but it is worth noting that they're an outlier where they're in there, but I don't know.
I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, and they always are, by the way. Yes, this album exists on its own plane, but none of their stuff really. It's all just fucking Zayo being Zayo. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, great. I mean, track 2 is just, it's bananas.
Yeah, it's the biggest. Like,
and then track 3, like, might be better.
Track 3 is better. Spoiler, track 3 is my favorite song on this album. It is so good. It's got
I literally
great pace. It starts off
my
with a kick in the teeth. The backing vocals, which I don't associate Zayo with clean vocals in any sense, but
no.
they're occasionally really well done on this album, and in this song specifically are expertly placed.
Yep. That might be the only spot I like them. I think that guitar player's clean singing sucks a dick. But
Right.
on this, when it adds texture,
Yes.
that's where it's being used perfectly, like as it should be. When it's trying to stand on its own, God, it's not good.
It is not.
In my opinion, anyway. It's like you don't even really know how to sing.
Like I can
Like,
get
I don't know.
on board, in the context of the album, but it's not.
No.
Yeah.
No, but on track 3, I'm glad that track 3, The Last Revelation, parenthetical, The Last Prophecy.
Yeah.
I put this would be my favorite if Josh doesn't pick it. So I'm glad that
Sick.
it's so good. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. Also, maybe like the most Zayo song on the album.
It's the most
because it's got that
2004 song on the album because of that
It's
hard
so
stop with the dissonance at the end.
oh god, it like gives me goosebumps when it hits that part. Oh my god. Also, Hey Darkest Hour, that's how you do like a guitar harmony break in a song. I say that as if every album they've made since isn't really good, but
Yeah.
it's living forever in this podcast now. Track 4, The Last Song of Zion, or From Zion, is fine. It's maybe the most meh song for me. It's not bad.
I think it's got it's the first time on the album that they kind of kick in with some expansive sound. Like it's got a little Amon Amarth. Like this is where you kind of feel like this journey is happening.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I mean, even still, like, I probably wouldn't have put it in my top 5 on the album, but you're right. That's a good point. The title track, kind of, again, we talked about it. It's not technically, but Live from the Funeral of God at track 5 is... the chorus is just shit on by the clean singing. I mean, and it sucks because the chorus is really good. And then that dude's clean vocals are not.
No.
It's just, I don't know who stepped back and said, "Yep, job well done." Let's keep that on the.
You
keep that on the record.
crushed it, bro. It's too bad too because like you said, it's super good. The song's a little bit more of a mess. It's more chaotic, but
Yep.
damn, I kind of see what they may have been going for with the sound. I draw a parallel to God Forbid and the Constitution of Treason, which is
yeah,
but
yeah, that's fair.
he sounded better.
I was gonna say it's not that I don't understand the idea. It's just like no one else in your band could sing better than that,
Right.
Like,
Which we know is patently false.
yeah, like I'm not a singer, but come on, like you could have just gotten a friend to come in if you really needed it to be there. No one cares if it sounds like that live. No one.
No.
You're not going to a Zayo show and being like, I don't know, that clean singing is a little rough.
Right.
You're going, I hope I don't get kicked in the fucking mouth by 17
Everyone.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ending is incredible, though.
It's great.
It almost completely makes up for the singing in the chorus because it's great. Lesser Lights of Heaven at track 6 is one of my favorites. It's and I don't even know why. I've never been able to explain why I love that song so much. There are 3 songs, and there's a 4th that should be, and we'll talk about it. There are 3 songs that have been in constant rotation on my phone or my whatever since 2004, and it's tracks 2, 3, and 6, The Lesser Lights of Heaven.
Nice.
The Lesser Lights of Heaven just has this like mood that I don't know how to explain.
So it's it's like the size of the sound. Like it's a really expansive sound. There's a lot of space for the vocals to really do the heavy lifting. And that I think that's what it is. Like it's really kind of stripped back, There's a lot of atmosphere to it, and his vocals are really just the feature in this song. The lyrics aren't even that complex or varied. It's just a
his performance.
Song.
Yeah, and it's like it's too long. There's not even really a riff in it.
No.
And yet I just love it. I don't know. I always have. It's really, really good. Man, I realized like I could literally talk about every single. It's such a varied album while still sounding completely cohesive.
Yep.
Interesting.
In Times Gone Past, the next song, again, the singing is not great. It kind of detracts.
No. God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
It just takes you out of the experience completely.
It really does.
And that's what a concept album is supposed to do, is give you an experience. And every time he is highlighted, it's just...
Right. It's an experience, all right.
I will say, the other track that should have been on constant rotation since back in the day, track 8, Praise the War Machine. Holy shit, that song's good.
I slept on this for sure, but it is amazing.
Man, I forgot about the 666 part. If you don't want to punch something at that point in that song, you might be dead inside. Like, you might need to, like, go, I don't know, get a cognitive test or something. I don't really know. But, like, it's so fucking good. It's got like a little Pantera feel in the verse a little bit. Like, man, that song's so good.
Yeah, I love the way they swelled his vocals in that specific line. Like,
oh my god,
the line, the lyric, the way it's delivered, the way it's produced, the way it's recorded, it's all really perfectly done.
Yeah, that part is just. It's one of those parts that as soon as you as soon as I remembered that it was about to happen, because I did, I'm like, oh, this is the 666 part, and then it 66. I was like, fucking freaking out, and Morty just looking at me like I was a psychopath.
The guitar's super cool in it too. Like the riff is slick as shit, and then he does like a little trill on the end of it at some points. And I was like, damn, dude.
It's incredible. It's just that's the one I was going to pick if you picked the other one.
There
so, spoiler alert a little bit there. Maybe we shouldn't like beat a dead horse here, but one thing I will want to say is, why do you have a song called Truly, Truly, This Is the End at track 9 out of 11 tracks?
Yeah.
It's odd, and especially because when you get to track 11, like, they're literally saying that this is the end of, like, the universe. Maybe I wrote it down. I don't know.
Well, so I think in the concept, like, God eventually comes back. And so, like, truly, truly, this is the end. That's, like, the last bit of human despair before his return, I think. Like that's where they are.
That's fair.
And then he comes in and it doesn't save the day. They don't even really seem to, because the next song is an instrumental, and then Psalm of the City of the Dead is just a long kind of atmospheric song with a little bit of vocals and some piano. So like it's kind of left unresolved, which I think is cool though.
Yeah, that's well said by you. Track 9, This Is the End, is good other than Scott singing. I mean, that might be the worst one for me. It just, because the part he's singing over is so good. The guitar work is awesome. The drums are awesome. And he is just pooping all over the place. But
surely
I mean,
one of the guys from Into Eternity could have like popped over, like, hey, I've been known to do vocals.
Hey, we all do vocals. Do you need help? Like every single one of us. Oh, anybody. The woman who sings on track 11, have her do it.
Yeah.
Like
Sarah George, by the way.
She sounds great. I don't get it. I will say for an album, it's bleak at the end.
Yes.
Like it's essentially, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because like it seems like you kind of got more into it than I did, but like essentially it's like everyone dies, but they're all just there still for what seems like eternity.
So I didn't really get the resolution. So like I think I read that like God does eventually return, but it's unclear whether that's like to save the day or like just comes back and finds everybody like lifeless in a grave to start again. I don't know. So
yeah, it's whatever it is, it feels terrible.
It does.
Like it just
feels quite terrible. Maybe what's the lyric that she sings? It's in one of these reviews, I think.
Well, while you're pulling that up, let me just say, for Psalm of the City of the Dead, at the last track 11, in 2004, and just in general around that time period, I was really into this sort of thing. That whole long kind of just whatever. I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if they only did the second half of the song, I would be fine with it, I think. But, like, man, that's a slog. I felt all 8 minutes of that song.
Well, and essentially coming off of... Yeah, so Truly, Truly, This Is the End starts to feel long for a 4-minute song. And then... Then you're in a minute and a half, 90-second instrumental, and then what is essentially another 8-minute instrumental. Like, yeah, it does become a slog. But
yeah.
So the lyric that the Sarah George sings is, "These streets are paved with gold. You're my everything. My soul is growing cold." So I don't.
That sucks.
Again, unresolved. Yeah, it doesn't help. I was trying to think like, oh no, like there's some optimism in there because I remembered the streets paved with gold, and then I forgot the rest.
Yeah, it's just earth-shatteringly depressing.
Yeah, it kind of bums me out right now. Actually,
yeah,
we've been 2 decades. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. And I don't know if everyone out there can tell this by now, but like when an album is truly interesting track to track, we do this sort of thing, and I'm really glad we did it with this album because like I know sometimes we're a lot more high level on the track breakdown, but like this album just has a lot to give.
It does. It's kind of proggy in that way.
In a weird... Yeah, I genuinely, it's very hard to put Zayo in a box. It's even harder to put this Zayo album in a box.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
You're damn right. You're damn right, Swayze. Dead? He's dead, right? Prostate cancer?
Something.
Less sad than the lyrics to that song?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Too soon?
I don't know. Does anyone have a bad thing to say about Swayze? Did he do anything wrong?
I don't think so. All I remember him from, though, is that he's not Kurt Russell.
Huh. I mean, it's true.
It is factually true. He is not Kurt Russell.
I have no argument for that because it is objective fact. Like, there's no... Review?
I don't want to go into the review on such a bummer, but yeah, we got to get into the review.
All right, review.
Swayze.
Man.
Crinkle cut fries?
You know, crinkle cut fries. Salty Swayze. That's my next grindcore band, Salty Swayze.
My next tattoo. It's going to be a crinkle cut fry with an 80s mullet. Oh,
man.
God.
It feels like it also could be like a lump that you have somewhere. I don't know. I got this salty Swayze. Ugh, I need to go get it checked out.
Cause of death, right?
Welcome
there.
back to the Salty Swayze podcast. Man, I feel like that would be like a Johnny Booth type like band, Salty Swayze.
Yeah.
I like this. I need to like
get legs.
I need to get a song out like today under the name Salty Swayze so no one else can take it.
Jimmy Eat World's next song, Chutzpah.
Oh, there's a lot to say.
Yep.
There's a lot.
Tell me what you think about this album artwork.
Indeed. It's never mind. It's very good. It's simple but effective. I think that the cracks in the cross help like kind of portray the fact that this isn't going to be just a traditional Christian based like album.
God.
That has right. And so I think it I mean, to be honest, I love it because it just looks like Renaissance sculpture, and again the light in the background, but that's surrounded in black clouds with the cracks on the cross. It's just all fucking sick. Like, so I gave it a 5. Like I don't know if that's because I know what the album is that has helped informing my opinion on what the cover is, because it's so simple. But I don't know. I think in my mind, at least, because I know how to tie it, it tells the story without doing very much.
It super does. And I don't know why, but I couldn't get on board. And like, we just reviewed Jimmy Eat World, and it was also just a photograph. And, you know, probably equally well composed. But for me, even knowing the concept, like, this kind of just lands on just an image for me. And maybe it's the coloring that isn't doing it for me, or maybe it's, I don't know, Craig. I think they could have done more, like, not necessarily been more heavy-handed, but like done more. I don't like the way that the image fits into the frame. It just leaves me wanting a little bit in the super weird way.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, when I was doing this, I genuinely thought to myself, this could easily be a 1 just as much as it could be a 5.
Yeah.
And so I don't even necessarily disagree with anything you have to say about it. It's just,
it's a pick a number.
Tickles my fancy.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I've ever said until right now. That might be the first time.
Good. It's a good thing to stay away from. Yep.
Yeah, it's super gross. That just gives me the salty Swayzes. Oh, I really wish we made money off of this and could make merch, because we'd have time juice. Anyway, so what scored you land on?
I gave it a 2.
2? Fair.
Yeah. I didn't feel good doing it, but I also like couldn't justify like I don't like, I'm looking at it and it's making me angrier.
I mean, I get it. I really do. What about the production, which I'm interested. I'm extra special interested in what you think about the production of this.
Yeah, man. I landed on a 3. We'll start there.
Okay.
I do think overall the mix is really pretty well done. When you really, really listen to it, it's good overall. The bass tone is super rough, but not at the same time. Like it blends in with, like, there's definitely some bass, some low end, but like the tone is like the drums sound a little thin to me, but maybe that's, I was listening like thinking that this was Jesse on the electronic drum kit, and it's not. But you can definitely hear everything that they're doing. And it's produced by Eric Rachel and Zayo. Eric Rachel produced Dead to Fall. And once I found that out, it was like I could totally hear Villainy and Virtue here. And the Phoenix Throne. He did both. He did God Forbid. He worked on a lot of this type of music. He even worked on, in some capacity, Miasma and Nocturnal.
Nocturnal's really surprising. The rest of them... So basically, he doesn't like a good guitar tone, is what you're saying.
I don't know, man. Like, Russ's guitar sounds good.
Oh, man. So... Oh, this is funny. We do not have similar opinions about this at all. I only took it from a 1 to a 2 out of my love and respect for the album.
All right.
I think this production is terrible. I don't think the bass tone is bad, but the way that bass tone would work is if it was properly blended with the guitar and help boosting the guitar.
Yeah.
Because I think the guitar tone is terrible. I think it's trash. I think the guitar tone on Miasma is trash. I don't really like the guitar tone on Villainy and Virtue, and I really don't like the guitar tone on Phoenix Throne.
Damn.
Phoenix Throne gets away with it because the bass actually does blend with the guitar.
Okay.
So it helps, like, boost it rather than just be a separate thing.
Boost it.
I remember watching... Yeah, when I first started trying to produce my own stuff way back in the day, I watched a video from Misha Mansour. It was like, I don't care what guitar tone you pick. I don't care what bass tone you pick. The important part is that they blend together and help each other be one thing. And unless you want the bass to stand out in a part, or whatever it is, like Obscura. That's an artistic choice. Yeah, exactly. But like even Obscura has 2 different bass tones on every album because there's like the bass tone. Exactly, but it stands out and you hear it and whatever. And then the rest of the time they're not using that bass tone because it blends with the guitar.
Right.
I hate the guitar tone on this album. I think it is garbage. I think the drums are really drowned out.
They are.
And I think, to your point, like, weirdly thin. I don't know how you make a drum set sound so not acoustic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
These
it's an acoustic instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet the electric kit that Jesse uses sounds more like a drum set than the drum set on this album somehow.
Yeah.
Even though it's so obviously an electronic drum set. I mean, there's no guesswork there.
Right.
So yeah, I think I think if I'm just listening to the album and it's on, I'm driving or whatever, I don't really care because the songs are so good.
Right.
But like to actually go through with a like fine-tooth comb, it's just the best I could do is a 2. And honestly, I don't even feel great about giving it a 2. I think it's just, and it's funny that you point out all those. I didn't look into it, but those are all comparisons I made in my head anyway. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? Is he recording Miasma and Villainy and Virtue? Like,
why?
So that's really interesting.
Bradley, yes, he did.
Like, what does he do? Go into all these metal bands and go, no, you will not use a high gain amplifier. Don't you dare touch that shit. We're using this 1981 Marshall with, I don't.
Don't touch that dial.
Got it. Oh man. So yeah, I give it a 2. It sucks because I so don't want it to be bad. Yeah. Like it's just such a good album, and
now I'm super curious.
Unfortunate.
We'll have to keep an ear out when we get to God Forbid. I don't know if he
God
did
Forbid
that
sounding like
album.
this at all. He almost couldn't have. And the fact that he had anything to do with Nocturnal, which is one of the best produced, modern melodic death metal albums of all time. Like, that album is just, the production on that is incredible.
So I think he was just an engineer on that one. I'm actually on his Encyclopedia Metallum page right now.
Sick. Okay.
He did recording on Nocturnal. He did not do...
All right, good.
Oh, he did the Human Abstract Nocturne. He did the Red Chord Pray for Eyes.
Well, that is the worst produced Red Chord album. I fucking hate this guy. He's just ruining all of my favorite bands one album at a time.
He did It Dies Today, the Caitiff Choir.
Of course he did. Man.
He did 2004. He did Gone Forever, God forbid. And the Constitution of Treason in 2005.
See, I don't remember God Forbid ever sounding bad. I vaguely remember all of their production being solid. But everyone else is just... Seriously, listen to... Bookend that Red Chord album, even with just a song. Listen to a song off the one that precedes it. Listen to a song off the one that succeeds it. And it's just outrageous how much worse the production is on that album. Like, night and day. Both the albums that bookend it sound amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then that one sounds so much... It's still fine. Yeah. Mostly because I know that the guitar player in the Red Chord gets his hands into everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're ever going to sound bad. It's if I were to rate it, like if we were listening to that today, it would still probably be like a 3 or a 4. But it's still worse than both. Anyway,
he also did the Symphony in Peril album.
Yep.
Yeah, which that one,
yep,
like I distinctly remember the production sounding like shit on that album.
That's the worst one he's done. That album sounds so bad. Remember that guy's vocals? It's weird that he ever... It's bad. It's just not good. Like this. It sounds like he's trying.
Kermit the Frog.
Seriously, it's not good.
You're coming.
But by the way, the only reason I care about this so much is because I love this album so much.
It's so good.
And it sucks that anyone else couldn't have been there to go, first of all, you stop singing. Stop it. Stop
it is really unfortunate. Like, I really can't oversell how good this album actually is.
No, it's incredible. And it's just, there are choices that I just don't. This album could so easily be a 40. Artwork's always going to be so subjective for both of us. I mean, I think we agree less than we disagree on album art, which is fair. But like, just some of the choices, like I would just do anything to go back to 2004 and be like, stop it, please. You get out. We're going to go get anyone else to record this fucking thing. Yeah. Like, you're a metal band. Use a metal amplifier. Stop it. Like,
sometimes it hurts me how our rating is set up to like treat these albums.
I know, it's brutal. Like, I'm glad we bring it up every time. In the spirit of this album is a 40.
Yes.
Like, its impact. What was the impact at the time for you, Josh? Let's just go ahead. I'm high-horsed enough. Maybe.
So I gave it a 4, and it's kind of a proxy rating for whatever, because you can only give it a 5. I'm kind of like bumping up my rating based on the extra points that you would want to give it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gave it a 5.
Like I said, I didn't listen to the whole album. I kind of stayed with the older Zao songs, but man, The Rising End, like that song in particular was just so big. And I know that it had such an effect on the way you wrote songs. Like, I even remember listening and watching the video and I was like, oh my God, he used like the 18th fret to make that one sound. It got us out of our like 3-5-7 fret progression.
I mean, it fucking shattered my entire world. Yeah. I mean, whatever number wait, whatever parameter we had set here, that's the number I'm giving it. If it was a 50, it's getting a 50. In this case, it's a 5. It's getting a 5.
Maximum points.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, to your point, I remember seeing him. Literally, they showed his left hand, his fret hand, at the beginning of the video. I mean, 2 seconds into a music video, I'm like, holy shit, you can do that?
Yeah.
Like, it should be obvious, but I'm a self-taught musician who didn't know shit about fuck, my man.
Up to that, we were kind of stuck in the breaking the law chord progression from Judas Priest, like like if it wasn't in that vein, like we probably weren't getting there until we saw this and learned that you can do like metal chicken picking.
It blew my fucking mind. I just everything about Zayo. It's just.
Yeah.
Their impact, I just can't overstate. It's impossible to overstate. Like, to the point where I made a note. And actually, I'm going to ask you for the instrumental track at track 10, which is frankly kind of just unnecessary. I don't really.
It is like just put it on Psalm of the City of the Dead and make it a 10-minute song. But you had to get that other song title in there. But sorry, what were we going to ask?
But you're right. It's a great song title.
Yeah.
But
although technically you'd lie sleepless in your grave, if I'm being pedantic, but
I'm so bad at lay versus lie. Like, that's one of my big blind spots. Like, it's affect and effect that I'm really bad at. And lay versus lie. I got nothing on. I'm getting better at affect versus effect, but like it's never going to be great, and I've accepted that.
One thing that
Edgar
super
Griffin
throws me off. Sorry, I'm going to get this in. There's a Snow Patrol song, I think, and he says "lay" and "lie," like in the same sentence to mean the same
that's
thing.
Not good. Or it's on purpose because of people like me. Maybe you're sitting there writing the lyrics and you're in like the rehearsal space and you're like, is it lie or lay? And someone's like, who cares? And you're like,
do both.
Yeah, I'll just put both.
Or maybe he's correct and I'm the asshole here.
I trust you when it comes to stuff like that pretty hard. So I would venture to guess you're probably right. When did Edgar Griffin record? Because we recorded most of our songs within the span of like a month.
Yeah.
Was it before or after this album came out? Do you know?
I don't know. This album
would it be basically the same
July
time
13th?
Pretty much?
I think it was the same time frame because like I remember it being like mid to late summer.
Okay. Because like that riff, well, I mean it's a riff, I guess, but in I Lay Sleepless in My Grave, we have the exact part. It's clean and everything. Like, I even went and listened to the Edgar Griffin album and found it. It is 100% the same exact thing. And I thought, I don't know how to feel about that, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. Like I just was like, good for us. We either ripped it off or we were somehow thinking somewhat similarly to, I don't know. I thought it was cool. I actually listened to our whole album last night.
Damn, dude.
It's mostly bad.
Nah.
Because I watched my first ever riff on YouTube. They had like a, famous guitar players talking about the first riff they ever wrote. And the first riff I ever wrote really was that like for Edgar Griffin.
Nice.
And yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, that was mine. I'll just listen to Edgar Griffin. And then anyway. How much did you enjoy listening today? Rant very over and long.
I gave it a 4. Like I really liked digging into the album more than I had in the past, or more than I even thought I would. I expected to get kind of bored after it beyond the rising end.
Yeah.
And that just didn't happen. But the end kind of gets a little long, which I get in the context of the concept, and the clean vocals are not great anywhere except for the part where they are super great.
Yeah, it's so funny that there's that chasm between.
It's actually 2 minutes shorter than Jimmy Eat World, so that was cool.
That is good.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I did think, like, man, both of these are almost an hour long.
Yep. So if
Crazy.
you've got 45 minutes to an hour to listen to one album, you can pick Jimmy Eat World or you can pick Zayo.
Those are different. Yeah, I also gave it a 4. Listen, I have real problems with the production on this thing.
Yeah.
And again, I have no idea how someone walked away thinking that the choices for the clean singing were the right choices to make. But it just, the concept more than makes up for what it lacks. The concept's really cool. It makes the album so cohesive and such a unit. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of the few albums that we've done on this. There have been a few, but that just immediately transported me to 2004 more than even, some of the others where I remember buying this. Yeah. I remember, like you watching that music video, seeing them, I think that year. I think that was like the same year we saw them.
Yeah.
And they were such a, their impact on me is very difficult to fully convey.
Right.
It's crazy.
Speaking of Zayo and Charles, do you remember 90s?
90s?
Yeah.
No.
I was thinking about this album and was chuckling to myself about 90s. Literally, not figuratively, literally. It's actually figuratively, but I'm going with it. Every person we saw on the way to the show on the streets of Cincinnati had an oversized white tall tee. That was 2004. And we called them there's everybody wearing their 90s.
I don't remember this at all, but that's amazing.
You text Charles and see if he remembers 90. Because I remember the white tall tee, the oversized white tall tee had a moment.
It did. Absolutely. And 2004 was that moment for sure. I remember that. I don't remember the 90s part. Not that it doesn't track perfectly from what I would expect.
Right.
It does. Man, that's hilarious. Hey, Mick, I really don't like talking to people through Instagram, so text Charles and ask him if he remembers 90s. That's crazy. I can picture it.
Yeah.
I can picture it in my mind as
we were in his
crazy.
car. What did he drive up? A Pontiac Grand Am?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
That's wild. Yeah, but that was so many people. It's weird to think about now. God, we're so old.
Yeah, we sure are.
Oh my God. Man, that's crazy. Do you remember that we went to Bogart's, because that was Bogart's, and we went to see, who did we go see? We went to see the Red Chord and August Burns Red at Bogart's, and I wanted an American Apparel 3/4 sleeve shirt, so we walked over to the American Apparel that was 2 blocks from Bogart's. Yeah. I bought it and I wore it, and I did a front flip in the pit.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
Isn't that weird? Could you imagine me trying to front flip right now? And I used to do it off the stage in Springfield. I used to do it off 4 feet high shit.
Yeah.
If I tried to do that right now, I would die.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You're a big fucker, and you've got no knees.
Oh, man. Very good times. Bogart's is a great venue.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we already hit the favorite song, but I think it's worth rehashing.
Oh, yeah. We still have to do stuff, huh? I just got trapped in memory lane there for a second. So you're saying the Last Revelation?
Yeah, for sure.
Sick. Now I don't know what to praise the War Machine.
Praise the War Machine.
And I'm breaking the rule in a way I don't normally break it. I'm putting the rising end on there.
Yeah.
I just am. Like, I just am.
Yeah.
I have the power to do so,
right.
and am exercising that power. All right, sick. When we pick our favorites, we put them on a playlist that is on Spotify. It is called TDTL Favorites. Something.
Surely.
So if you're interested, it's a cool mix of different genres and all kind of good stuff. There's like 19 Eagles of Death Metal songs on there, which is good.
Yeah. That is good.
You can check us out on Instagram at TDTL_podcast, where you can see an excellent photo of the Golden Girls.
Yeah. I thought that was Into Eternity. Wait, that wasn't the band?
It was. Dude, no joke. I've had difficulties, like...
The one person had sunglasses on. Of course that was the band.
Yeah. No joke. So what I try to do, if no one's caught on to this yet, is I try to find a band photo from that year. Or at least with the same members, if it's within a year or so or whatever, you know. I'm looking for a group of dudes, mostly, wearing very tight black t-shirts and, you know, whatever. But with Into Eternity, like, as far as the internet's concerned, that band doesn't even really exist. Like, it's just strange. Because they've been around for so long and have done so much. And I couldn't find one, so I was scrolling through Golden Girls pictures for like 30 minutes at work, and then I saw the one where she's wearing sunglasses, and I was like, yep.
That's the one.
That's it. That's the one. So yeah, check us out. Say things or don't. So far, it's profoundly in the don't column, but I wish you would. Tell us we're wrong. I would like to have that debate, but anywho.
That ain't no guess. That's what it's going to be.
Oh, jeez Louise.
I guess with that,
yeah,
he's been Louise. I've been... I've been Thelma, and we've been 2 decades
killing ourselves.
Yeah, driving off a cliff.
Boy, when you really think about it, that's a bleak as fuck thing to do. Like, what'd we do? Break a bunch of laws? Let's just kill ourselves.
Yep.
All right.
I guess that's equally as bleak as the end of this album, so...
Indeed.
We've been 2 decades too late.
Later.